This is Bioshock Infinite. We're on Xbox Series X. So, yeah, the game actually is quite gorgeous. It's inheriting its Xbox One X enhancement. Now, sadly, I can't show you the full scope of that due to the fact that I have to use my old PVR in order to capture it because they've disabled capturing through the Xbox DVR system. So that is kind of a little disappointing because, it does look a little bit better in terms of the visual quality than what's really being shown to you even. Like, I mean, it still looks good in this presentation, but it's not quite to the level of what, the 4K capture would provide. So on the Series X here, with that enhancement, we're getting a push towards a 4K resolution with 1440p at 60 FPS with auto HDR support, which looks absolutely delightful. And yeah, this is one seriously gorgeous and incredible game. Now, I'm not sure why the enemies are dying so easily. I don't know if I'm just not used to the game because it's been a while or what, because I'm supposed to be playing on normal difficulty, but the enemies just get like shredded for some reason. It just seems like they're easier than they used to be. Because I last played this on the Switch, which, it just got its release over the last summer, which was kind of interesting to see. I mean, I definitely wasn't as impressed with it as I am here playing on the Series X, but, it's kind of an interesting port. It actually really is quite fascinating to see that, first of all, available on a Nintendo platform, and secondly, actually being decent on there, I guess you could say. So anyways, this is Bioshock Infinite. This is one of the greatest games ever created. It is a marvel in terms of its narrative focus, its gameplay mechanics, its story, its characters, and the world you get to visit. So this is kind of it's Bioshock, but it kind of is a standalone Bioshock until you play some of the later content in the game, like the DLC sort of things, but I don't really want to spoil that in case you are jumping into it fresh. But yeah, the DLC in this is definitely worth checking out. I don't know, maybe I should go in there and take a look in here and see what's up. But yeah, you should definitely take a look at the DLC if you've never played it, because I know some people back in the day, they played the main game and then they didn't touch the DLC content, but you get some truly incredible, like, it really ties the whole series together in such a lovely way that I think it's a must-play experience. I really do think it is. So anyways, Bioshock Infinite, again, literally, I think one of the top games I've ever played in my entire life. This is such an amazing experience. It is such a beautiful game. It is such a well-done game. It is a game that you will sit there afterwards and you will have to think about for a long time because it's so interesting. It's one of those games where, most people only get this with, like, I guess you could say movies or something, where it's one of those ones where you're sitting there and you think, and you have to think about it, and you kind of like, oh, what happened? One of those real play with your mind kind of things. And this one, still to this day, it's still something I think about, like the ending and the setup for this one, because I continuously, look back on this as just being such a wonderfully exciting and thrilling experience that truly was just so surprising every step of the way. And they handled the gameplay mechanics and the scope of the game and the visuals of it so beautifully well that it's amazing. It truly is such a remarkable title and a must-play experience. So this is part of, I guess I should have said this earlier, the Bioshock Collection. So you actually get this as like a package, if that makes sense. And not every situation needs to be done with a gunfight. But this is really such a, remarkable title. All three of them are really great games, but this one is my absolute favorite of the series. There's just something about the environment, the themes, the type of the world, the wonder, the characters that are present here that I find absolutely just wondrous and exciting. And it's something I love playing this game so much. I just absolutely fell in love with it when I first played it back in the day. And I think all these years later, it continues to be something that is just so enchanting. And I'm trying to really explore this time as well as kind of moving through it. Because, you know, obviously, having played this back in like the 360 and seeing it most recently on the Switch, playing it here with such a high resolution and quality was like, it was unreal. It really was. It was like a completely like amazing and exciting experience to behold. I really was just blown away by it, and yeah, it's gorgeous, and it's a must-play story too. Like the characters, we kind of been talking about that, but you play as this guy or your booker. You're trying to wipe away this debt. It's very mysterious. Like you're not really told specifically what you're doing. So you're like, okay, find the girl, wipe away the debt. So you're trying to find this girl, you don't know who this girl is, you don't know where this girl... Well, you kind of know where this girl is because you got like a postcard. But the idea of it is that you're, you know, basically out here to wipe some sort of debt, but you don't know what that is. You don't really know who you are, you don't really know your purpose. And I don't think the character really knows who they are or their purpose either. And that's sort of something that you discover together as you explore this wondrous landscape, this Columbia, the city of the clouds, this amazing old-timey type place that is filled with neat sky hooks and rails that you can fly across and weird, not really steampunk, but kind of sometimes steampunk-esque kind of items. And it is just amazing. It's such a well-done title. Like every single part of it is filled with some sort of wondrous thing that you can take in, like architecture or art. And it's such a lively, beautiful, delightful, and charming environment. It's so welcoming and yet so mysterious. And you're never sure exactly what's going to happen or where things are going to head or the people you're going to have to deal with or what's going on with like the twin characters or, you know, that was the only glitch I've ever seen in this game. That was hilarious. You see him running through the table there? That was funny. But yeah, it's just kind of amazing how you can experience what this has to offer. I don't think I was supposed to kill that guy. My bad. But yeah, it's beautiful here. It looks so great. And there's collectibles to find, as you've been seeing with these audio logs. And there's like, you know, I'm trying to get all the coins so I can like buy stuff. But you can kind of like level up your character, and you can, you know, explore all these different places and find all these hidden secrets and try to, you know, basically deal with this messed up city. I should not have had whatever I had there to cause this, because trying to stay focused. But yeah, so it's a linear game. Like, you play it straightforward, you play through it, and you experience the narrative as being told. And you get these different rooms where you kind of get a sense of, I guess you could say, freedom in how you tackle them. But it is very much a linear set story. You know, it's got a sense of scope. But I think a lot of people, they don't even think really the full details of what this game has. Because the themes that you see in this, you know, of God, of certain religious elements, of racial issues, of, you know, different rebellions, it's so masterfully handled, and sometimes subtle, sometimes not. And I think it's just kind of amazing what you're able to see in the game. And it does not take long to get started. Like, this is right off the bat. The whole point of this really is, I don't want you to be spoiled when you're jumping into this, like, seeing this game now, if you are going to jump into it. Because this is something that I think is so incredibly amazing. I just, you know, it's hard to, you know, find the lock. Okay. I'm actually not sure about this. I've never done a side mission before. I don't know if I want to, or if I should just kind of continue onwards. I'm just kind of thinking about it, because pacing-wise, I want to really take in the world this time, instead of being rushed to kind of do the narrative. But yeah, it's just something that you explore in such interesting ways. And there's different weapons and tools you can use. Like, you got your cool skyhook thing, which, you know, allows you to, A, kind of travel the sky, B, cut people up, and C, do some other things. Oh, okay, well, that's interesting. Well, maybe we'll come across it, doesn't matter. Don't care that much. And then you also get all of these really neat kind of abilities. So you can, you know, kind of unleash, like, the fire. I don't know if you've been seeing that. I've been shooting fire abilities. And there are these things that are like vigors, and, you know, you use them. Oh, I remember, you click so many buttons in this game. It's kind of funny. In the elevators, you go pop, pop, pop constantly. Anyways, You got these abilities, and you can, like, one's possession that I have right now. One is just like a fire ability, and there's like a few different, I think there's like 8 or so of them. And, you know, you get to unleash these powerful abilities, and then you get all these different guns, and then you find new things as you progress. But the real heart of this story, the real magic of it, is not even your character. It's the bond of your character with Elizabeth. So she's who we've kind of been working towards finding. Now, I know it kind of goes against my spoiler element to tell you about this, but I feel that I really have to talk about that character if I am diving into what makes this game so magical, because she is a big part of that. At least I think so. Because she's an AI companion that, like, goes with you and kind of ties you down as a character in terms of, you know, understanding what's happening. And we've already got all this, like, a bunch of gear when we started the game because we have all the things anyways. You know, she's a character that has compassion and also has a sense of wonder. She's exploring really the world for the first time, because you kind of are, like, you know, breaking her out and everything like that. But it's just such an interesting character because you A, get that sense of wonder, but B, there's a little bit of mystery too. And then she's so well done as a character because she's an AI companion that actually helps, actually assists you, actually is there to, you know, provide support and help you by gathering, like, loot and stuff. And she can take care of herself. She's, you know, basically definitely reliant. You don't have to, like, do any sort of support. She's in their environment, she's there helping and supporting, and I don't think you really get too much of that in games. Like, you usually get AI companions, especially for that era, that weren't super helpful. Yeah, this is one of the abilities. So yeah, that's delightfully disgusting. But this game is just really quite amazing because it comes together in such an interesting and quirky and weird sort of way that I find to be just fascinating, because it's so different, and I don't think there's really been too many games like it since that hit on this level of, like, quality in their narrative to really keep you thinking long after you've finished the game, because it's something that just has that level of wonder. Like, you get to a certain point, and I think, you know, those that have played the game will know what I'm talking about, but there's this element of, like, the lighthouses and, you know, the places you go and the infinite places you go, and that just was so amazing to think about and to dive into and to discover and explore. I just, like, the long-lasting thoughts behind this one are just absolutely amazing for me. And again, like, the capture that we're seeing here really doesn't even do justice to the full, you know, 4K presentation, because it's, like, kind of technically downsampling just due to the thing being capped at, like, 1080 60, right? But you get to see the fluidity. The game really has never felt better. I haven't had any issues. It just, like, smoothly performs. Oh, hello there. Is that me? Oh, jeez. My bad. But I think you'll find this game to be delightful, to be fantastic, to be full of discovery and wonder and intrigue and mystery the whole way through. Like, you'll never know what's gonna really come around the corner or what you're gonna end up doing. And there is a good sense of challenge to it as well in terms of where things go. You would think that there would be something else down here. Might be missing something. But you can see there's, like, these little, like, it's linear, but you get little tiny bits of freedom in how you go through areas. And I think that's kind of fun. So outside of actual, you know, story, this does include all of the DLC. So this was a time when games were doing, like, passes like crazy and stuff like that. They still are. I'm not saying they aren't. But this had very specific DLC releasing where you get a pack and it would release extra content for the game that kind of, you know, it didn't necessarily need. There's, like, a survival kind of wave thing that you can do. And yeah, I mean, I played it back in the day, but it's nothing really too special. I mean, you might want something different gameplay-wise, and it might be worth checking out because of that. But otherwise, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's good. Like, it's a fine mode. There's nothing wrong with it. but I also think that you don't really need to dive into it. You should be 100% giving it all into the full scope of the story and the experience of the narrative, and you have to do the DLC. Like really, like the extra content. Like especially if you've played other Bioshock titles and you've played Infinite, and you've never finished like the DLC in this one. You just like the way it kind of really perfectly ties together the entire franchise is absolutely perfect. It's just such a well done way, and I don't know if the DLCs were, I can't remember if they were necessarily like the most amazing things by themselves, but when you put them in the context of the overall series, the franchise, where certain things go, it really does provide such a unique wrap up to the world of Bioshock across the three games that have come thus far. And I know, well, I'm pretty confident from what I've heard that Bioshock isn't done yet. So I'm genuinely curious to see what they can do with this concept, because I think there's a lot more out there that they can do with Bioshock. I think the potential for this series is infinite. Kind of funny to say, but looking at this one, it's basically like a standalone story. You don't have to have played the other Bioshock games to jump in here and appreciate it. You really don't. You can come in fresh. You can just literally play this game and have an absolute wonderful time exploring, battling, surviving, and seeing what the game has to offer, because I think this one does really, truly feel special to so many people that have given it a whirl. And I hope there's still lots of people that are kind of intrigued by what this game has to offer, because I think it is something that is a once-in-a-lifetime type of game. And I'm talking very highly of this one. I have been the entire time, because I really do think that this is a perfect experience. It's like you really don't see games like this that often, and this is a treasure to witness. Are those coins? I've been grabbing all of the coins for no reason. But I'm really kind of pushing onwards because I do want to show off the wondrous kind of conclusion point of where we're at, because I think that gives you just enough excitement to kind of be hyped about seeing what's next afterwards, and getting you into this, because this is a completely must-play type of thing. It really, truly is just so wondrous. And yeah, it's kind of nuts to be seeing this city of the clouds all these years later. Wow, somebody was drinking a little heavily there, am I right? Jeez. Having a little bit of a drink-a-thon here with your pals, instead of watching the skyhook. What way is that going? We're going... No, we're supposed to be going this way, right? Do we need to go in there? Yeah. So I think we're going to be climbing up. But there's this whole, like, even the beginning, like the first hour or so of gameplay is just kind of absolutely insane, because it's very, I guess you could say, narrative focused in terms of, being more cinematically driven as opposed to being direct action. But it does fling you into the combat quite fast, but it gives you this sort of startup where you're able to really kind of take in the world and take in what this has to offer, which I think is kind of cool. And then still, it holds up really perfectly. That's mostly what I want to get across, is I don't have, any real issues with this one. It looks wondrous on here. It looks just incredibly, like, shiny, and the detail, like, everything is so sharp. I guess I could say that, some of the reflections, not in the water reflections were incredible, but some of the, like, mirror reflections, they had a little bit of jaggedy type edges around them, just slightly, but other than that, every single portion of this upgraded experience is just so amazing to kind of witness. And then on top of that, it feels so much better than it did. Again, remembering the context of me coming from playing this on the 360 back in the day, and B, most recently having checked this out on the Nintendo Switch, which is like, it was a decent port, but yeah, it's definitely not to the degree that we're seeing here in terms of quality, in that, it's certainly a different and more special time here for me, at least, because everything is just so So colorful, so vibrant, so crystal clear. And it just feels so good. Yeah, so smooth, the different weapons and stuff. I love it so much. And you can see I'm just having so much fun rolling around discovering these places. And while this seems like a really magical area, we're not even really checking out the full scope of this setup. Because there's a lot more like areas, there's a lot more places and things that you're seeing. And this is really just even touching the, just the basics of what this is. It's the prophets of regret. And this is just like a narrative beat. So this will help you kind of understand a little bit more context to what's going on here.
I see every sin that blackens your soul. Wounded knee, the Pinkertons, the drink, the gambling, and of course, Anna. And now, to repay a debt, you've come from my land. But not all debts can be repaid, Booker.
You don't know me, pal.
Prophecy is my business, Mr. DeWitt. As blood is yours. You know why these men will die for me? Because I have seen their future in the glory, and hence they are content. What brought you to Columbia, Booker? Bring us the girl and wipe away the debt? This will end in blood, DeWitt. Then again, it always does with you, doesn't it? It always ends in blood. You've come to lead my lamb astray, but thy crook is bent and thy path is twisted. Go back to the Sodom from which you came.
Oh, that's not good. The Prophet's Zeppelin. Exciting. Nah, it's just it's so neat because it really does make you think, and all the characters that are present here are so wonderfully done, and they all have very interesting, deep motivations to them. There's a lot more under the surface than you're really even seeing at this point, and the further you go, the more you kind of discover, the more you understand, and the more you're just going to be like truly shocked by what this has to offer, which I think is absolutely amazing. And we're getting ever closer to the part that I want to show off, because it really is just, you have to present it. You really, really do, and you'll see why when we get to that point. Yeah, whatever, man. I'd prefer if you hadn't have done that. It looks like we're here. Yeah, this is seriously just... It feels so good to be back playing this game. It really, really does. I wish I had more excuses to jump in here and play this more often. And obviously, like, loading-wise, you just, like, get right into the next part, and you don't even have to think about it. Yeah, unlocking these achievements like crazy. Monument Island.
Where they got locked
Closed. Unbelievable. Good thing we have a directional arrow that's telling us where to go. It should have been very obvious. Nah, I just remember having a blast. I even did like a walkthrough on this game back in the day when it released on the 360. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I really did truly find this to be such a wondrous experience. I think it's one of the great examples of, storytelling within a game and actually doing so within. Like, it's a decently lengthy story, but it's not insanely long like some games need to be to really get a strong story across. It's one where they have a focus, they know what they're doing, and they do so very, very well. Well, that's unsettling. But yes, it's this big mystery build-up as we get towards, where we're trying to go. So many things to gather. Like, I never really bothered with collectibles and stuff back in the day, but now you get the achievements and stuff still. It's definitely like a different time for me. Just like I'm thinking of when this came out and how much time has gone by, and the different games and stuff that have come out, the different experiences that have been had since then, and this one still just holds strong as one of the genuinely best titles I've ever seen or ever witnessed. And I keep saying that, but I just really want people to, think there and be like, okay, I gotta check out this game. I gotta see what it's about, because it is something that continues to keep my interest so well. And the button pushing, you do that so much in this. Like it's not an overly high amount, but it is something where it's like you are button pushing a lot. That is for sure. And these classic hiding game loading screens in the elevator. Ooh, a creepy room where you're watching people. Activate the specimen tracker. We're getting close. And there she is.
That's her.
Yeah, and obviously the Eiffel Tower's got a big thing here. But yeah, also when I go to like expos and stuff, like like we do like comic expos here and stuff like that, I always try to find. There's always like an Elizabeth dressed up lady cosplay for. I always try to get a picture with them because I think it's kind of fun. I really love these characters so much. They're so cool, and so much heart here, so much detail, and it really comes alive with this higher quality here. You just really can take in the scenes, I think, more than you ever could before. Especially this kind of thing.
Whatever that was. It's got nothing to do with the job at hand. This job's getting worse all the time.
Every scene is just so beautifully done. Oh, it's about to get a little wild. The air actually must be really thin up here. I never thought of that before, but you think they have to like pump in oxygen and stuff? If you think about it, right? Uh-oh. Hi.
Hey! Knock it off! Stop it! Will you stop it? Not here to hurt you.
Who are you?
My name is DeWitt. I'm a friend. I come to get you out
Get
of here.
away! Are you real?
Real enough.
He's coming. You gotta go.
Why?
You don't want to be here when he gets here. Just a minute, I'm getting dressed.
Get you out of here.
There's no way out. Trust me, I've looked. Stop it, you're too impatient. That's enough.
What about this?
What about it?
This is the way out, isn't it?
What are you? Give it to me. The
Whoa.
way out. Come on, this way. His job to keep me locked up in here.
We'll see about that.
Someone's not happy.
Hurry!
Call the elevator!
And now we make our great escape. And yes, we are getting to a point where we will sort of conclude things. She's probably thinking, oh, they saw some weird stuff in there.
All this time. Why? Why did they put me in here?
She's so
What
emotive,
am
it's
I?
amazing.
What am I?
You're the girl who's getting out of this tower.
I'm just kidding, that does nothing. Oh look, the elevator's here.
This way.
Oh, this looks so amazing. Yeah, you don't need to tell me that.
Careful, Elizabeth.
You know my name.
Not now.
How did she, what?
Out of the way. Let me try.
Which way?
Anna? Anna?
No, it's me. Elizabeth. Are you all right?
Where am I?
Back in the land of the living. Here, let me.
I'll be fine.
You almost drowned. You need to...
I said I'm fine. Just give me a minute.
Do you hear that? It's music.
You go on. I just need to...
Okay, I won't be long. I won't be long, Mr. DeWitt.
Where is she? You fellas seen a girl around here? Blue skirt, dark hair? Hey, I'm looking for a young girl. Airship. That could be our ticket out.
The whole thing's rigged. All I want is fair pay for an honest day's work.
Anyways, this has been Bioshock Infinite. I just love ending on this moment because it's just so delightful.
Miss. Could you just... Hey, Miss Elizabeth.
Hello. Oh, this is wonderful. Well, come dance with me, Mr.
I
Smith.
don't dance. Come on, let's go.
Why? What can be better than this?
How about Paris?
Paris? I don't know. Listen, how could we get there?
That's where that airship's going, but if you want to stay and dance, we
No,
can...
let's go. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go right now.